Yesterday was election day for many people. And all in all, it was a pretty good day for Democrats. Republicans did have many victories, particularly in Kentucky. Republicans did pretty well across the board, except the Democrat governor did get reelected. But the big question now is cheating. That's right. Trending on Twitter right now is the phrase cheating. And when you click it, you get a spattering of fight videos where people are angry that their significant others have cheated on them. And you get accusations of Democrats cheating to win the election. Well, we saw this story yesterday. Pennsylvania voting machines changing votes sparks outrage. There's a couple other stories. Gas leak, water leaks, rooms being evacuated, liberal county voting centers being given extended time. I don't know that anybody cheated. I know that these things did happen. The news is reporting them. They're saying, don't worry, we'll give you an accurate vote count. But the big concern is when they extend voting hours, many people are saying this is when they bring in the votes. It's when they bring in the lost mail-in votes. It's how they actually change the numbers. And I don't know for sure, but a lot of people are wondering how it is, despite the cultural shifts that Republicans lost in so many of these places. How is it that in Ohio, where Trump and J.D. Vance win, they have just enshrined abortion in their constitutions? It's really interesting, my friends, but I think the issue is, look, where I stand, yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump. I'd probably vote for Republicans. However, you guys have heard me make the arguments on this show. We're a fairly middle of the road show. And I think the issue is not so much, are you right? It's the it's the issue is not, is your politician right? It's the margin of belief within individuals and across the entire population. What I mean to say is, ultimately, I don't think the politician is what matters as much as the ideas. And that's why you can see in Ohio, abortion gets enshrined in the Constitution, but Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, they do well. The issue being that they may want Donald Trump. They may want Republicans to win for cultural reasons, but when given the option to vote, say, pro-choice, they'll say, you know what, I'm going to vote for it. Now, my big concern with, all the abortion stuff is how extreme it is. But let's break down where we currently are, my friends. Pennsylvania voting machines changing votes sparks outrage. That's right. Look, I want to go over the results of many of the elections and break down for you the Virginia Democrat who got caught releasing, adult content on the internet. She lost. I think the issue really is cultural. And so while we look at all these stories, a few important takeaways are this. You cannot just rely on electing a politician to save you. We must build culture. Most important thing. That's why you don't see me doing these big get out the vote initiatives. You don't see Timcast investing heavily in nonprofits that want to focus on voting. I think it's important. I think Scott Pressler does great work. He's a very, very important man in this country, and he's doing the Lord's work. It is important. But for me, my strategy is always let's build culture and dominate the conversation so that certain subjects can't even be brought to a vote. Not that people aren't allowed to vote on them. I'm saying nobody would want to. More importantly, however, we're a year away from the election, the big one, the presidential general. And you think anyone's going to believe the results? You get Republicans screaming cheating once again. And if it went the other way in some of these races, the Democrats would be cheating all the same. In fact, they probably are. There's a viral video of a guy walking up to a poll greeter, screaming at him, saying that he was trying to steal his vote and he's going to take a picture of, I'm going to remember you. It's getting crazy out there, my friends. I think it's important to understand these two components. This is why I think winning the culture war is the most important thing. If social order is breaking down and no one trusts the results of an election, let's just unify everyone behind a common culture. And that is our culture: freedom, liberty, meritocracy, individual responsibility. So, my friends, before we get started, of course, go to timcast.com, click the link in the description below, and watch Infringed: Gun Rights in America. A Lauren Southern film. Lauren Southern and John Dutoit put together this film discussing gun rights in this country and giving you, I would call it, the more pro-gun argument. And the idea was almost all of these films and all these interviews that come out are always anti-gun. They always give you the anti-gun narrative. So we said, no. We're going to tell you the truth about guns. Because the reality is, in the documentary, Lauren goes around asking people, what is an assault weapon? And guess what? There is no definition. It's a fact. There's no definition. Each different state says like, well, if it's a pistol grip or it's a shiny plastic stock or something. No explanation for what that really means. They say things like a hunting rifle is fine. The AR-15 is a hunting rifle. It's nonsense. So check out the documentary, Help Us Build Culture. This right here, we are putting already $100,000 in marketing to start, and I'll probably put in substantially more. When you become a member, that's what we're doing with your membership. We are using it to advertise our new documentary. And so don't be surprised if you see a handful of ads across the board popping up all over YouTube and Facebook and Twitter/X. And if that is the best we can do is run those ads, we're putting the idea that you have a right to keep and bear arms in front of everybody. That's how you win a culture war, my friends. What's going to happen is when the younger generation is getting ready to vote and they understand the correct arguments about why you have a right to keep and bear arms, you don't need to do any of this. Why should I care if a single county has voting machines changing votes? That's the big story from Newsweek, right? Everybody's mad about it. Imagine if 90% of people just said, nah, you should have a right to keep and bear arms. This is the ultimate work. Politics is downstream from culture. So let's put it this way. Everybody agrees racism is bad in some form or another. Now, I think the left has become overtly racist, but there are certain things in this country that 99% of people are going to agree with, like don't murder, right? We want to create a culture in which owning a gun, or I should say this, infringing on someone's right to keep and bear arms is seen as egregious, as mercilessly beating them for no reason. No one's going to be okay with that. I mean, obviously, you got people on the left and extremists who are like, yeah, we should beat people or whatever. Fine. I don't know. Overwhelmingly, everyone's like, nah. We want it to be that scary. Like, no, you can't do that. You can't infringe on someone's gun rights. We got to build that culture. Let's start with the results here. We have the story from the Daily Mail. Glenn Youngkin stunned in Virginia as Democrats flip House and retain Senate control. Republican touted as White House candidate suffers crushing blow on home turf as abortion rights take center stage at ballot box. Glenn Youngkin was handed a stunning defeat on his home turf. I'm actually not surprised by this at all. This is the House of Delegates. This just means each individual location the Democrats were able to win. Surprise, surprise. This is not. It's an off cycle election. I'm not surprised Democrats succeeded. This is what happens when you have a group that controls something. It flips. So Republicans had the House, and now it flips back. It is what it is. They say, well, Republican donors have been urging Youngkin to make a late entry into the 2024 race. The first-term governor said he had to gain control of the General Assembly first, vowing to push through a 15-week abortion ban, and they did not get it. Virginia voters rejected that, with Democrats estimated to win at least 21 state Senate seats, retaining their majority, and 51 seats in the House of Delegates, gaining control from Republicans. Which is crazy because before this, it was a trifecta. It was all Democrat. The Virginia results were part of an overall good night for Democrats, which saw Kentucky's Governor Andy Beshear win re-election and abortion rights preserved in the red state of Ohio. Preserved is one way to put it, right? Let me see if I have the story from. Here you go. Ohio votes to enshrine abortion up until birth. Dude. Wow. This is, it's shocking and it makes me want to laugh a whole lot. I see these people screaming and cheering for the right to abort a baby at 9 months, which basically just means kill a baby, right? And I am a traditional pro-choice person. This is not pro-choice, okay? The traditional pro-choice position is like, look, man, it's really difficult to answer the questions of constitutional rights pertaining to two bodies sharing one, organ system. It's really difficult. But if the baby can survive on its own, there's no question. Don't kill it. Now they're like, I don't know, kill it anyway. That's literally the Democrat position. Here's the issue. They want the right to terminate their offspring so badly that they'll do it up to birth. Here you go. Voters in Ohio have approved a constitutional amendment to enshrine abortion into the state's constitution. State Republicans argued the measure went too far and even further than Roe v. Wade. Governor Mike DeWine told Fox News in October, it's pretty clear that this constitutional amendment just goes further, much further than what the average Ohioan approves. If a voter is comfortable with abortion up to the time of birth, they're probably going to be okay with this amendment. If they're comfortable with parents not being involved in the most important decision their daughter will ever make, or certainly has made up until the point in her life, if they're okay with that, then they should vote for this. He also told Fox News, if you look at issue number 1, it's a radical proposal. And whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, it just goes much, much too far. It would enshrine in our Constitution the right to have an abortion up until birth, anytime during the pregnancy. Second thing it would do is threaten a law we had on the books for many years requiring parental consent if we're dealing with a minor. The lawyers who wrote this were mindful for what they were doing. It's a radical proposal that does not fit Ohio. Listen, man, I am I don't know, what do you call it? Social liberal type. I am a practical, I would say, instead of saying non-theistic, deistic. I believe in God. I don't believe in organized religion. I don't have faith in organized religions. And I'm going to tell you this right now. We fight every day for what is just and what is moral. And when we lose a battle, we try again. In this instance, I hope you understand what this means. With the right to have an abortion up to the point of birth now in Ohio, as well as places like Colorado, the likelihood of liberals having kids is dropping dramatically. And we are already seeing conservatives have substantially more kids. This is why electoral politics does not mean all that much to me. It matters. We pay attention. We'll talk about it. We will advocate, of course, but it's secondary. Culture's everything. The first and most important thing any of you could do, have kids. Keep them away from these schools. Homeschool your kids. Get away from these cities. Cut off the cultural rot. And make sure they understand. Make sure they understand. And they learn real values. I watched a video. It was posted by Cat Turd. You guys know Cat Turd on Twitter. And it's a dad pitching a ball to his very young son, who's probably like 5, who cranks it, boom, straight out into the forest, like just grand slam. And the dad loses it, like cheering, like, holy smokes, your kid just cranked it. Must be the most incredible feeling ever, watching your kid do something so incredible. Tremendous success, because your child's success is your success. I watch a video like that and I'm like, wow. And then I see a story like this. The Democrats are like, we must abort our babies. It's like, oh no, the left is purging themselves from the gene pool. Okay, I guess. Hey, look, man, we cry and we pray and we beg, stop, please. Because we want to protect the babies. Because we want to protect innocent life. There's only so much you can do. And I fear that this issue can lead to very serious civil conflict. I believe it may be akin to, I didn't make this up. I'm not the first person to say it, but I agree with those who say abortion may be the slavery issue of our generation. But if the left is actively purging themselves from the voting blocks, from the gene pool, from all this stuff by killing their kids, look, man, you can lament it. You can be sad for it. You can pray. You can do all of that stuff. But all that matters me, mathematically and pragmatically, is in 20 years, there will be more conservative voters. And I keep hearing from people, yeah, but they're indoctrinating our kids in school. If you know they're doing it, then just don't bring your kids to these schools. What's going to happen? No amount of formal indoctrination will be enough to overcome biological decimation. I'm sorry, that's just a fact. And you can complain, and say, oh no, they're indoctrinating our kids. Look, indoctrination can be reversed. Indoctrination can be prevented. And you want to indoctrinate your kids with American values. If there are just no liberal children, it's not, I'm sorry. Look, let me tell you something. Kids are influenced by each other, right? So when kids go to schools, you got liberal parents teaching their kids liberal things. The kids are watching liberal cartoons, all that stuff. And so in order to fit in, be socially accepted in their classes among their peers, they'll adopt these behaviors that they think are cool. I want to be like this famous celebrity that all the other kids like. Guess what? Not only are they having less kids, so there will be less liberal influence from kids, a lot more conservative kids hanging out with conservative kids. You've got the likes of the Daily Wire bringing back Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah, Bentke. Have you guys signed up for that? Have your kids watch those shows. They're wholesome, family friendly, no weird woke crap. And it's not like overtly indoctrinating. It's like normal life stuff. Good shows. Then you have our mission, what we're doing with Cast Brew Coffee. Building a coffee shop in the works. Construction is happening. It is what it is. We're going to bring back a special event called Saturday Morning Cartoons. You know what we're going to do? Every Saturday morning, we're going to invite families to come. There'll be catering. Bring your kids. You hang out. You talk. You share ideas, your concerns. Your kids learn and play with each other. And we're going to put on shows on the TVs that are approved by the community, which means we'll probably end up playing a whole bunch of Bend Key cartoons. That's Daily Wire's children's network. We're going to say we know these are safe. They're new. It's great. We want kids to be influenced by this. We're going to choose. We're going to say we keep out the weird, creepy leftist culture. And guess what happens? 20 years later, these kids will be voting and they're going to be like, I know what helps me be successful. I know who I want to be like. Right now, you have this far left instant gratification culture and it's expanding. But I tell you, my friends, instant gratification leads to your demise. You have blind zealotry, and that leads to your demise. So right now, what do we have? Okay, let's break it down. You may be lamenting the results of these elections, but I tell you, it's a pendulum swing. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep building culture. Because when the left argues against gun rights, what happens? Take a look at any one of these cities. Businesses are collapsing. Burger King's now shutting down a bunch of locations. CVS, Walmart, Target, all of these locations shuttering. Cities are struggling. Human waste thrown about the streets. And you know what's funny? We got some small little towns in West Virginia that you probably never heard of. Population 1,000. And boy, are they beautiful. There's no crime. There's an old man serving ice cream at his ice cream shop. And you walk in and he's wearing suspenders and he says, what'll it be? A little Missy, the little girl. And he gives her a scoop of cookie dough. And I'm like, wholesome life exists outside of these crackpot deranged cities. So you know what? I will beg. I will plead, please stop voting for this garbage. But you know what? So long as they keep voting against their interests, no gun rights, surprise, surprise, you're getting mugged and killed in these cities. You want abortion until birth? Well, uh-oh. You've just eliminated the next voting block in your generation. We must win the culture war. And we are. Bud Light, Target, look at all this stuff. Sound of Freedom. We launched our documentary the other day, Infringed, advocating for gun rights. And we're putting in, so far, we've already committed $100,000 to marketing. And that's all thanks to you. Understand this. We may lose right now electorally. It's because of the cultural pressures. But you see, what's happening is a lot of people are saying, how is it we have such tremendous influence? We have these big shows. You have Louder with Crowder. You have this manifesto, all this stuff coming out literally right before an election. How are we not winning these elections? It's a delayed reaction, my friends. A lot of young people are going to be exposed to this and we're going to win, and we are winning. We have to keep pushing. So here's what I want to say. Give it time. Don't stop. Keep speaking up. But more importantly, it comes down to this. When you watch a show, when you read a book, when you advocate for something, you are investing in that culture. Every time you watch a Disney Plus show, you are telling Disney, make more of this. I do not have a subscription to Disney Plus. I canceled that a long time ago. And honestly, I've not watched any of the new Marvel stuff. It's basically over for me. Because they got the Marvels coming out, I believe tomorrow is Thursday previews. This will probably be the first Marvel movie I do not go watch. I'm sorry. I'm just not interested in the girl power garbage. I got no problem with female superheroes or anything like that. I think Katniss Everdeen was a great character. Ripley and Alien, of course, everyone says that was great. You can have your female heroes. Wonder Woman I thought was awesome. But I saw the trailer for the Marvels and I'm just like, 3 female heroes up against the unbeatable ultimate female villain. And I'm just like, I don't know. Look, man, it's just too hammy. And that's not a culture I want to invest in. And that's fine. I'm sure they'll make $1 billion. That's good for them. But we're going to invest in our own stuff. And we're going to start here. We're working on new projects. A lot of people say, Tim, you released this gun rights documentary. Literally, Lauren Southern says in it, go buy a gun. And so I'm like, it's not like it's not unbiased. We absolutely think gun rights are paramount and important. But we're going to keep building and investing in this. And people are like, you're just putting it on timcast.com. Why don't you do this? Well, we got to build it. We have to build that infrastructure. But let me tell you what this is all about. You become a member at timcast.com. Click join us. Watch the documentary. And you know what happens? You sign up. $10 a month. Couple cups of coffee. Maybe it's like 2 cups of coffee a month you forego because you're a member at timcast.com. Let me tell you what we're doing. So far, we have already put up 2 ad campaigns on social media, totaling with a total budget of $100,000. It's just that right now. I would love to put up $1 million. Let me break it down for you how it works. If we we ran one ad yesterday, and this one was a $1,000. I think it was $1,000 ad buy. In $350 spent, we got 55,000 views, meaning the ad was displayed to 55,000 people. All we need is 35 of those people to watch the documentary for $10, and we've covered the cost of those ads. So guess what? If we make slightly more money than the ad costs, we are going to go nuts on the ad campaign. Here's why that matters. I think we win at the ballot box by helping people understand cultural issues. In this documentary, Infringed, we're basically breaking down the history of gun control and democide, these governments that have killed their own citizens, why it's important to defend yourself, why the police can't always be there. Help people understand those issues. Instead of going to them and saying, hey, vote in favor of us because we want gun rights, they need to understand the core of this. Here's the best part. Maybe you're concerned that not enough people have watched the documentary. We're too small. 55,000. I think the total ad run for yesterday was 150K people on one ad watched an unskippable 15-second ad. And if that's all they get, we are pushing these ideas and making them ubiquitous. If we can spend $1 million advertising this documentary, the ad itself is advocacy. We want to tell young people, you want 1 million subscribers, you want to be successful, be like us. That is the whole point. Indoctrinating young people to say, we are cool, we are successful, and this is who you want to be. Right now, young people are being told to be like this. In fact, you look at what's happening in Ohio, there's not going to even be young people. I'm going to tell you a funny story, right? It's about rollerblading, the biggest action sport in the 90s. And now it's nothing. People make fun of it. Why? They did not inspire young people. So as the young people who rollerbladed were aging, doing these tricks and grinds and backflips, young people were not getting involved in the sport. It wasn't cool because they weren't advocating to young people. So now they're in their 30s and there's no young generation rollerblading. Guess what? Nobody's buying your product. The industry starts collapsing. You need to inspire young people. That is so much of what life is all about. We do all of this for the future generation. Now, the big concern we have here you go. Rand Paul says, congratulations on last night's win. A Republican landslide cleans up in Kentucky, except for governor, says Cat Turd. That's right. The fear is all of this is cheating. In one of the top 5 most liberal voting precincts, there was a gas leak postponed, blah, blah, blah. You've got evidence in Connecticut of a mayoral election being someone was cheating, so they overturned it, the primary. Here we go. Trump leads in 5 critical states as voters blast Biden. I'm not crying about any of this. I didn't cry when Trump lost in 2020. I'm not screaming and crying voter fraud. I don't care. I literally care. Don't get me wrong. But my point is, my friends, if you are just focused on earning a vote, you're missing the big picture. People want to fit in. They want to be like their peers. Why are people scared to speak up about their support for Trump and traditional conservative or libertarian values? Because they want to fit in. Here's what we're going to do. Sound of Freedom became a box office smash, shattering massive numbers. Now it's international. You can't deny it. People love it. Bud Light tanks 30%. You can't deny it. We are winning culturally. You need to make it socially unacceptable to support Democrats the way they've done it to Trump. We need to make it that people are just like, I got to vote for Trump, and make it so that these Democrats are like, I can't tell anybody I'm voting for Democrats, because that's what they do to you. And then what happens? Everyone's like, I voted for Trump. We need to make it cringe. You support abortion up to birth? That's Ohio, baby. That's Ohio. People in Ohio want to abort babies up to the point of birth. Make it unthinkable and socially unacceptable. What y'all need to start doing is embracing the Bud Light effect. Talk about why you support Trump, why you support America First politics. I don't like the Republican Party. I think they're trash. McConnell sucks. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say. If I'm out and about at a party and someone's like, well, you know, I like what Ohio's doing, I'm going to be like, you think it's cool to abort a baby at 9 months? Dude, I'm pro-choice, but I think you are nuts. And then here's what happens. This person standing in front of you hears that and they get embarrassed. And then two other people go, yeah, that is kind of crazy. You actually voted for that. And, well, I mean, I didn't know that. No, don't look at me. These people don't know. They don't care. They don't pay attention. We're going to own the culture. And that's what we're doing. Fox News is crumbling. Cable TV crumbling. The older generation that watches cable news, they're losing it. We are going to win the culture war. I'm proud to say, with the work we've done with Infringed and Game of Money, we have 2 documentaries up now. I'm hoping that we can get to the point where we're putting up a documentary every single month, and even movies. But I think documentaries are our play. Make entertainment. Make it fun. Make it funny. What is a Woman was one of the most important cultural endeavors done in our generation because it was ubiquitous. Everybody watched it. Normies watched it, and they said, you know what, this is actually right. We need to make an abortion documentary like What is a Woman, tackling the issue. And let me tell you, my position, and I get into arguments, like, it's crazy to me. I'm at this point, the liberals and the left call me pro-life, but my attitude is like a very libertarian, traditional Democrat position. People like that. So make it unthinkable. What Ohio did is unthinkable. And if you know someone in Ohio who voted for that, you got to make fun of them. That's really what it's about. You can be hanging out at work and you'd be like, wow, hey, look, man, I'm pro-choice. This is what I'd say. I'm pro-choice, but I can't believe there are people that actually voted to allow abortions at 9 months. Talk about being stupid. And then someone's going to be like, well, I mean, that's not what it says. Are you kidding? You got to be a moron to vote for abortion at the point of birth and then be like, oopsie daisies, I didn't read it. Wow. Could you imagine being that dumb? It's like, I'm surprised people in Ohio voted for this, but the reality is they just didn't read it. So, sure, I guess. Here's the challenge, though. For a lot of these people, they don't read it. What they're being told by the left media is that the Republicans want to ban abortion outright. Now, look, I can respect Republicans standing by their values. I'm not a Republican. I don't like Republicans. I like the idea of safe, legal, and rare, which doesn't exist at all anymore. I'm going to keep saying what I think and believe. That's it. You can tell me I'm wrong. You can argue with me. I go through it over and over and over again. I come to my conclusions. You're allowed to come to yours. My point is simply this. We've got to win. We've got to win before the ballot box because politics is downstream from culture. We want to make Democrats uncool and lame and all of that stuff. Now it's tough, but let me tell you something. Right now, it looks like we have this bifurcation of cultural values in this country. It's bad in a lot of ways, but it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to win the culture war because the left is losing their control. The establishment is losing their control, and we can take it. Take a look at this. Trump is leading in 5 critical states as voters blast Biden. People don't like Biden. So what do? I am not going to argue that advocacy for Donald Trump, a vote for Trump, is the way to do it. I'm going to do the inverse. I am going to mock people who vote for broken brain Biden. Broken brain Biden. Wow. Hey, look, man, I tell you this. I'm not saying you got to vote for Trump or like the guy, but at least he's spry. I'm going to say, man, look, Biden and Trump, COVID, I mean, I don't know. They didn't invent a virus. I don't think it's their fault the virus happened. That's crazy. And then everyone's trying to scramble. So it's hard for me to say who's better or worse. But you're kidding me. If you're going to vote for the Trina Nana Shabbat pressure guy, let me ask you this. What does Batacalf care? Broken brain Biden. That's who you're voting for? I don't care, dude. Look, that's why I'm like, you can go to these Democrat voters and be like, come on, dude, vote Vote for Cornel West before you vote for Joe Biden. I got to be honest. Look, I don't like the policies of Cornel West. He's not a bad dude, but he's got bad ideas. But I'd probably vote for him or Cenk Uygur before broken brain Biden. Because at least Julian Assange gets pardoned or something like that. So you get it, man. You get it, man. We got to win culturally. And then what happens is downstream at the ballot box, people just want to fit in. And I'm telling you, we are investing everything we can in culture building and pushing back wokeness from these cities. And then I want to make voting for these crackpots unthinkable. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.